Welcome back, everybody, to round 3 of Terminator, the Sarah Chronicles with Jeff and Kev from the Suns and Shadows podcast. Yep, we are finishing up season 2 of this bad boy, and gotta ask you, Kevin, what did you think? Did it stick the landing?
Oh, gosh. This stuck the landing for me like Carrie Strug. It landed really nicely, and then broke its ankle and kind of fell to the side, but still did it really nicely and professionally.
It still landed.
Still landed, and the coach tried to pick him up for this one, but unfortunately, Fox just kind of dropped the ball with where it could have gone.
Yeah, I completely agree. The Fox clearly didn't know what they had on their hands because the show finally found its groove, found what kind of story it was trying to tell. It found its identity. The cast was really clicking at the very end. I know we struggled for a little part of the series with all like the side characters and the subplots, but everything wrapped up very nicely during the second half. Things evolved, characters grew up. John Connor and just a lot happened, and it felt like it was nice and neat. It worked. It didn't feel like it overstretched itself too much for me.
Oh, see, I kind of do. I think maybe it was episode 212 that it was really felt like the first filler episode for me.
Yeah, I mean, you can definitely argue the filler episodes didn't need to even be in this show. You could have yanked them out, and this could have been like a 14, 15 episode series, and it would have been perfectly fine.
Yeah, and I mean, the show did work. Whether the plot was good or if it was cheesy or crap, you were still being entertained because this is not a bad show at all.
No.
It's like pizza. Even when it's bad, it's pizza. It's good. But the flashbacks, the different types of storytelling, which I don't know if that was just different directors trying to do different experiments, different homages to different films like Clerks or Pulp Fiction. It was all interesting, but it wasn't always great. There was too much flashback.
Yeah, I can understand where you are on that. I think they were trying to allow a little bit of different ways to tell the same story. And they're trying to get their finger on the zeitgeist at the time, like things that were working for other like TV shows or other movies, or what they could take from those and bring to them, so it wouldn't feel like every episode is the same formula of over and over and over again. Oh, hey, robot seeking us out to kill us. Oh, we got to stop it. They were definitely trying to introduce a lot of new concepts, new ways to tell the same story. Some of it worked, some of it did not. I'm not going to sit here and say like, oh yeah, the second half of the second season was just flawless. No, there was still issues. I still have my problems with some of the characters, and we'll get to that very quickly here. But I feel overall they found a lot more consistency the second half. So the filler episodes felt a little more in line with the story, rather than the first half where it felt they were just in there to pad. And when you're just padding for time, that doesn't really work for me. I mean, we all grew up of the era when we were getting 26 episodes in a TV series each season, and how many of them actually related to a story? Say like, I'm not going to say Star Trek Next Generation, because those were largely episodic until they got to season 4. And then they had overall stories. But you could point at that and say, only 7 or 8 of those episodes actually had anything to do with real story. The rest of them were all standalone. And this is still a product of the time when shows were going 20 plus episodes, and there was always going to be filler. So we grew up during the era when you basically had to sit through that, whether you wanted to or not. But if you liked the show, you put up with it. You didn't have to love it each and every single episode or what they were trying to do. Holodeck episode, Star Trek, you could point at like Battlestar Galactica, the remake, when they were off just screwing around doing something that had nothing to do with the story. Hey, let's get to fucking Earth. How about that? So there's clearly times when they want to focus on other things, you can almost look at them as this is the chance to breathe before we start fucking you over in your mind.
Yeah.
Because there was some little mind fucks going on during the second half of the season here.
Oh, sure, sure. To the point where you're kind of like, what am I seeing here? Like, there was one episode that was really the best way I could kind of describe it or compare it to would be either Jacob's Ladder or 12 Monkeys, where Sarah is in a sleep lab having her
Oh, that
dreams
one.
checked, and you're
Yep.
not sure what's the dream and what's actually happening.
I kind of dug that one.
Eventually, yeah, but
Yeah,
after
when it paid off at the end, the rest of it made it work for me. But like part of that episode, I'm like, this is kind of goofy.
yeah, it some of the episodes you kind of had to like grit through a little bit, like the plague that almost wiped everybody out but didn't.
That's the one I did not like of those of the second batch of episodes. I mean, and to your point, for as goofy as they get, they all still were at least a little bit interesting. They never felt boring. So I'll give it points for that, at least.
Oh, sure. I mean, even when they're still trying to beat the dead horse with the stick of Sarah being afraid of her destiny of having cancer,
Right.
you think they're going in that route still again, but instead she has a radio transmitter embedded into her breast.
That was
And
strange.
that was kind of cool, though. I like
Yeah.
it was a little matrixy. I dug it. But then she fucking defibs herself with no problem.
Knocks her ass out.
Yeah,
Which,
knocks her ass out.
that was so fucking funny. I literally just about died laughing when I saw that. I'm like, who does that? Nobody does that. If anything, she would have said, "Nurse, hit me."
Kinda. Give me a belt or something. Fuck.
Do it to yourself was just so funny. I don't. It was totally unintentional, but I just found that completely hilarious.
Oh, I dug it.
Nina
Like,
Heidi, I love you. Thank you for going through that scene and carrying it off with as straight a look as you could.
oof. she she had some really great scenes in this season specifically where Sarah's in a lot of pain and you
Yep.
really believe that she's in that pain.
Yes.
There was no denying. I really felt like maybe like with the situation with that can cutting into the meat of the thumb.
Oh
Like,
God.
I'm still half suspicious. Was that real or was that latex?
Yeah, right.
Because it grossed me out pretty good.
Gotta love them visual effects teams and practical effects guys who were working on that.
Yeah, it's the little things like that making somebody throw up like me, where they're just kind of like, "That's why I do this job."
Well, they
That's why I
got
do
put to
it.
work this second half of the season too. Like this back 11, like damn, they had to be on their toes because they were doing some crazy practical effects.
Yes, they were with gunshot wounds, flesh being torn. Oh,
Fucking
what else?
Cameron on the prison break scene was like fucking like slaughtered almost.
Yeah, like she had that whole half a face where you could see the inside of the endoskeleton, which I did not like. Like,
Right.
did it look cool? Yes,
Oh yeah, look cool.
but they forgot the fact that they'd already established that her eyes glow blue, not red.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, well, it's still cool. They get it. They allude to the fact. No, they don't allude. They just flat out say she's not designed to fight the T-88s or the 888s.
She's not designed to fight any of them, actually.
Yeah, and,
That was a comment, yeah.
but you're kind of like, but she's done it so well and so consistently so far.
Well, I think it's more of the fact since she wasn't designed for it, it's taking a toll on her and it's breaking her down. It's not so much the damage they did to her, it's the damage that she's doing to them, and it's adding up on her frame.
With her consciousness and all that.
Yeah, because like something's like as we were getting to the end of this season, something was definitely not quite right with her. And you didn't know if it was the chip, you didn't, but something definitely was going on. And boy, did she give up her chip to John Henry, and boy, did that lead nowhere. Well, it led somewhere. You just don't know when.
That was the one moment in the whole season where I'm kind of like, okay, now I know where they're going to go with this show.
Yeah.
I mean, it was really simple. John Connor in the future is John Connor in season 3.
Same I think dude. So.
Yeah, same dude just went through time with what he had and rallied everybody with the knowledge that he had that they could win.
Yeah.
That's really how I took that. The other part that I took from that, specifically with John Henry, I think Joss Whedon watched this show, saw John Henry, and then saw that John Henry had a twin, a malevolent type of AI that we later find out was SkyNet or becomes SkyNet, not John Henry. So there's parallel issues there. And then Shirley is trying to raise John Henry to fight SkyNet.
Spoiler alert.
Yeah, like they made that ending really cool.
What?
So, I mean, you got to see where things were starting to go finally, and it started to become interesting. The only part of that I didn't like is where Sarah goes, well, I can't go with you. Fuck that. And backs away. He's like, she would not let John go with a T-1000 anywhere by himself.
I think she was more afraid of being confronted with seeing like Kyle and everything else that had happened into the future. She had seen enough. She didn't want to be experienced to that. I mean, that's how I at least read her character. Like, I can't go with you. She can't handle that mentally. She's already dealt with so much. And the fact that he was going into the future with the other Terminatrix, or I don't know what kind of Terminator model she is. She's completely something different. But like going off with her, I think that was her also giving John I trust you. This is now your time to step up. And the only thing I'll kind of say about what you said, there's another possibility for John in the future. And I don't want it to sound like it's too complicated, but he could just be there as another character in the background, but he ultimately meets the John Connor in the future because they still are reporting to John. But at some point, he'd have to meet his future self who would know who he is right away. Then they'd have to work together on whatever issue is in the future while Sarah's working on problems in the present with Ellison. And so we would have two concurrent storylines going, one in the future, one in the present. And at some point, I'm guessing John would have to come back.
Yeah.
That's just my thought. I didn't really look too much into what they planned for season 3, if they ever even talked about that. I don't know.
It seems like that's where they decided, you know what, we've got a great idea for a story. Let's wrap this shit up, and then in the 3rd season, we've got an even bigger budget. We'll make it this.
And I think, they set up for a hell of a fun 3rd season, let alone could have been a fucking cool ass movie if they would do a movie with the TV show crew and cast.
Yeah, and I don't know if the demand was there.
Yeah,
I think the interest would have been there more so than the demand, because
there was more Firefly fans for Firefly. I know Firefly fans for a Serenity movie. There was way more fans for that to actually have the groundswell for that movie than there was for Terminator. Not saying we didn't have a great audience for this show. I think people were kind of done with Terminator, and Fox, this was the best place for this right now, was to be one more TV season. Most seasons that last or most shows that last 1 to 3 seasons don't generally get movies. The exception to the rule was Serenity.
Yeah.
Just saying.
Yeah. And how that got fucking passed without a GoFundMe, I don't know. Happily so, but I don't know.
Well, yeah, even fucking Super Troopers had to go through crowdfunding to get a sequel. So what does that tell you? And that was that's as minimum of a budget as you can get. You're talking Serenity with a heavy special effects laden budget. It probably cost like 70 million to make that. Like, okay. I mean, I ain't complaining. I like the Serenity movie.
Well, yeah, but Serenity was great. It wasn't a perfect end cap, but it was still a great end cap.
Right.
They've never done well. No, I can't say that. They did do a great end cap to Terminator. It was T2.
Yeah.
The movie's letting them go along as far as they have has like broken continuity worse than DC Comics.
Eh, to say the least.
Yeah, like they need a 0 hour or a crisis or some shit to fucking fix their timelines.
Yeah.
But it just the clamor for it wasn't there, but the clamor and interest for the TV show was.
Yeah. And
So
over the
again,
years, it's grown too. So,
yeah. And I don't know why they let shit fucking go on as long as they do, as far as not wanting to recast or reboot a season
right.
to the point where it's like characters have aged, characters have moved on, characters have fucking passed away. Like, that's what I didn't really care for it with Serenity. Like, they had to put an end to so many characters that could have had great futures if they ever did another sequel or another continuation of the season. Or
I'm just
like
mad
a
they
second
killed
season.
fucking Wash, but
I wasn't trying to give a spoiler that time.
hey, I don't. Fuck that.
Oh, anytime something bad happens to Tydick, I want to throw the fully remote at the TV again.
The dude is so good. I mean, unfortunately, he's got quite a few shows that we can cover for our podcast because most of them got canceled.
Resident Alien is still going, I think.
Not anymore. Not after this next season.
Ah, god damn it. That's right.
It got announced, so it's or whatever is left is wrapping up. So,
Well, at least that'll be an enjoyable show to watch.
I haven't even seen it, so I will be very excited to check that out if we pop that onto our Bat Boy podcast.
The pilot is very good.
Okay,
Yeah, I really liked the pilot.
cool.
Like it's Tydick doing only what Tydick can do. Like his facial expressions and mannerisms are so perfect as an alien.
Oh, all right.
Trying to fit in. It's like how Kill Bill says that Clark Kent is Superman's critique of the human race. It's
Okay.
the same philosophy of Alan Tudyk acts the way he thinks humans are. It's really weird.
Sounds perfect.
Yeah. It's a smart comedy.
Okay.
Terminator was a fun action show. It wasn't necessarily funny, and it was never actually smart.
Well, they tried with their drama. The smartest they ever got with this show was like some of the when they were doing the plot reveals. Because some things you didn't see coming, some things they let you see coming, and some things you saw coming a mile away.
Yes.
So there was a good mix of all of that going on. It did keep you guessing a little bit for some stuff.
Yeah, the one thing that got me way off guard again was Shirley Manson or Weaver.
Yep.
Saving them at the end.
I was completely like, what the fuck is going on? I know you've set up that there's good robots, but like I was not expecting that.
Yeah, not that T-1000 from the past or from the future.
Yeah.
That apparently came back to the past to say yes, that she's willing to work for John or whatever. I don't know. But like she turns into Kite Man.
Yeah.
She fucking busts her arms out
Into a shield.
Into a shield in the shape of a fucking kite. And if you've watched Harley Quinn, the cartoon series on HBO Max, there's a character called Kite Man who's very self-confident of himself, even though he's not a very smart or mature person.
Right.
And all I could think of when she just popped open her arms and the kite fans went out was just, Kite Man. Hell yeah.
I know, right? I mean, that was a pretty sweet twist.
It was like I wanted to see what was going to happen between her and John from there. They got me interested at that point.
Yeah.
And then Fox shit canned the stuff or shit canned the season or the series. Why do that once it fucking gets good? Like they finally get you with the hook.
Yeah, I don't understand what happened with Fox on this one. Of course, they blamed low ratings, but that excuse only goes so far. Most fans can see through that bullshit. Most people, yes, I know it's show business, it's not show friends, but like a lot of people see through the low ratings, low ratings, low ratings. Well, were you promoting it? Did you do your part to ensure that this had the best chance of success? Oh, you didn't? Oh, well, then you can't blame low ratings all the time for the sole reason. Clearly something else was going on behind the scenes and contracts this or James Cameron doesn't want to do that. I mean, who knows? Maybe they were getting ready for like Terminator fucking Genesis
Oh,
and they're like, oh hey. And
I
Lena's like,
bet you
well, I'm
that's
gonna
the
go Game of
case.
Thrones this shit for the next 10 years, so fuck you guys.
That very well could have been the case, yeah. Because Warner Brothers, they do not fuck around when it comes to mixing TV and movies.
Right.
They have very little just recently, and that was with the Crisis on Infinite Earths,
Yeah.
where instead of bringing Michael Rosenbaum into the Flash Arrowverse, they bring in what's his tart the oh what's his name?
Heisenberg?
No. I like him as an actor too.
Right.
Not as Lex, but I like him as an actor. The kid that's always getting in fucking trouble, choking people out in Hawaii, that plays
Oh,
Flash.
Ezra?
Yes, Ezra Miller. They brought him onto the show, and I'm just kind of like, why? Like, there are so many other cool people that have played Flash, either be voice actor or physical.
That weren't already on the show.
Yeah, really. I mean, I totally would have geeked out seeing Rosenbaum on there, but whatever.
Yeah, I know. I never made it that far, so I can only take everybody's word for it. I couldn't handle all that angsty stuff. And to that kind of note, the angsty in this show at least finally got a payoff that both of us appreciated.
One episode.
One episode, and Kevin, I know for a fact, was going to be happy about recording tonight because I was editing the last episode. A little peek behind the scenes, and I was listening to a little bit of his conversation while I was doing something else with the audio tracks. And Kevin was like, you know, Derek's got to kill Jesse, and Riley's got to die. They both got to die. And if you listen to the last episode, Kevin says this very clearly, and they both die. Kevin called it, and I hadn't seen this far in the show, and I'm just laughing as I'm editing. And I just think it's great because I actually really like how they handled Riley more than I like Jesse is the one character I'm like, I don't, I just, I don't blame the actress, but the character I just did not like from beginning to end. I didn't give a shit about her story. I didn't give a shit about her and Derek. Clearly, she was fucking lying about everything. The shit she got pissed off about on the submarine was completely ridiculous. Props to Theo Rossi for Sons of Anarchy showing up. I totally dug seeing him on the boat, even though he got his head smashed into the wall.
But it was cool.
But you know, Jesse's character was just so. I liked her being a badass, and the actress did great because I don't think she was supposed to be likable. But even the moments where they're like, "Hey, let's show you some of her humanity," I'm like, it's a little late for that now.
I
For
don't care at this
Riley,
point.
for Riley, at least she was like, you know what? Fuck this. I'm done. I'm beating the shit out of you, bitch. You're done using me. So there was a spark of, okay, I can get behind Riley. Oh shit, she dead.
Yeah, that escalated quickly, didn't it?
Yeah, when I'm like, holy shit. And then the big reveal was like, John has known this for a few episodes. It kind of what makes me want to rewatch season 2 just to kind of see where he started following her. And he knew about Jesse before Derek did, because he's telling Derek, like, I didn't find you out from him. I found you on my own. Derek didn't tell me about you. I found you on my own because I followed Riley a few times here. So that was like, okay, so you knew she was playing you at one point and you fed into it more? I
Yeah.
think that's about the time he stopped being such a whiny little bitch. I want to say it was probably around the party time when she called him
Yeah.
and got him out of the house and go to the party. And he beat the shit out of that dude.
That was
I
totally gaslighting. I swear to Christ.
I know. I think that's the moment. I I'm not sure, but I think that's the moment where he's like, "What the fuck is going on around here? And what the fuck is wrong with you?" It didn't stop his feelings, but it definitely put him on guard to be like, "I'm gonna be watching you now."
Well, yeah, he really realized it down in Mexico, where
Oh yeah, that was clear too. Yeah.
when the guy said his real name and his mom's real name, she didn't bat an eyelash. Like she already knew his name was Connor.
Right. And she broke the camera without even hesitating. I mean, this is what he was telling Jesse. So it's like, okay, so when before that? But I like the attention to detail here.
Yeah, like whoever wrote those lines, kudos. Like you turn John, the character, from an annoying, not so much whiny, but
I felt whiny.
in a way, yes. Like mom can't remember my birthday. I want to go out with my friends. It's like, why? You're being hunted. Stay
Yeah.
inside. I don't know. They turned him into Michael Corleone for a good 5 minutes there,
Yeah.
and that scene was great.
I'm
I
like,
did
here
enjoy
is the
that.
John Connor we've been waiting for.
Yeah, I wanted to see that guy go on in through the next season, and
Yeah.
unfortunately, that didn't happen the following episode.
Because I think season 3, that would have been where he stood out
Yeah,
completely. I mean, he wouldn't have. I don't think they would have built him into this human leader asshole, but they clearly set up the fact that he can't trust humans, but he can trust his robots that he reprograms himself way
yeah,
more than he trusts anybody else because of the storylines from the flash forwards into the future where, oh, I don't know what's going on. Oh, I got to talk to your robot to get an answer to you, to this, to that. And it's like, we're working with all these goddamn robots. The robots are trying to kill us. Why isn't he telling us humans? You know, the whole thing on the sub was like, we don't know what they're not telling us anything. Well, honestly, if you believe he's the leader of the resistance and he's trying to save you, uh, keep your fucking opinions to yourself until you complete the mission. Don't open up the cargo. Don't be a fucking moron. You were never there to open the cargo and make sure it was secured. You were there to pick up the fucking crate, bring it to John. He knew what he was doing. He could have had a conversation with that Terminator. Dude, y'all fucked it up because you guys are nuts. And so why would John trust you fuckers?
exactly. They went into mutiny really easily and really fast.
They were so on edge. And it's like, I get it, but at the same time, I just
Well,
no.
they were trying to recreate Alien in that episode, and like,
Well, their fucking robot did nothing to anybody. Didn't it killed the one person, and then you didn't see it till the very end of the fucking episode.
yeah, where she says, "Tell John Connor our answer is no," or whatever.
Right.
I really enjoyed that aspect as far as it being Alien,
Yeah.
because you kind of knew how it was going to go, or that it was going to be an issue with one mutiny and then two, the android that's
Yeah.
piloting the ship,
Yeah,
or
I
in this
did like
case, the
that.
Terminator. But that guy, like you said, when the mutiny started, and he grabbed Theo Rossi by the face and then smashed his head into the iron wall.
Yeah, his
And
name was what, Queeg or something like that.
I'm not sure, it was something like that, but foot to that guy, fuck that crew up.
Well, the actor was Chad Coleman, who is from the TV show The Expanse. So I really liked seeing him in a much different role. He looked a whole lot younger and way more clean shaven and perfect manicured beard and everything. At first, I'm like, is that who I think? I'm like, holy shit, that's him from The Expanse. That worked for me.
Yeah,
Because
he
he was
was.
just as brutal in that show too, but he was human in that.
Oh, was he?
Yeah.
Well, he made that episode. He and the Kraken made that episode for me.
Oh God, yeah, that was great. I
That
mean, there. What I didn't like was like the Jesse stuff. I'm
yeah.
just gonna leave that there.
Okay, so I have questions about that because, again, this wasn't really great writing in certain areas, especially for Jesse's character.
Yeah.
Okay, so you already told me that, yes, she does end up getting shot and killed. That makes me very happy because I thought fucking Derek just let her go. And I'm just kind of like, okay, well, everyone likes to make their own mistakes, sometimes twice. But yeah, I'm glad he fucking shot her, like you said, because she was a security risk. Outside of being annoying, she was a security risk. So I mean,
Yeah, I mean the death is largely off screen, but the fact that she threw something at him, ran away, he pulled the gun up, she turned to face him, and at that same time he pulls the trigger. Now, yes, you could say he might have missed. Derek's a hell of a shot. And he had already told her, I'm not letting John told me to let you go. I'm not. You're not my Jesse. And he had to kill her. And we never saw her word again.
no, they wrote off so many people at the end really fast.
Yeah, episode 18 was last time we saw Jesse. Oh no, wait. Jesse was gone episode 19. I'm sorry.
So was Riley gone on 18 then?
Yes.
Okay. And okay, so the next question was, okay, so she finds Riley. Riley's like 15 years old, apparently.
Yep.
She's a street urchin in the future, living in like rubble of a mall or some shit.
Yes.
And Jesse picks her out and saves her, takes her to the past with her own ulterior motive, which is to have Cameron kill her. So John
Yep.
disregards Cameron or disavows her, kills her, whatever. I don't know. That didn't seem like it was a very thought out plan. And I'm not sure what her end game there was. Like,
she was trying to get Cameron to get killed by John. She didn't, because Cameron was in cahoots with John in the future.
uh-huh.
So she's trying to eliminate that influencing John at this point, because if time is the cycle, I'm not going to get overly complicated here, but the idea is John in the present, our Thomas Dekker John, is that he's familiar with Cameron now. In the future, he knows, well, I got to send her back in the future. So, she's going to be my right hand. I'm going to keep an eye on her. I got the finger on the switch that can kill her, blah, blah, blah. So the idea is like, if I get rid of her now, I eliminate things that happen in the future. But the thing is, the more you change the present, the more the future stays the same. And so she had her idea was to grab this throwaway person in the future. Oh, she's young. She kind of matches the age of the John I'm going to go after here, which is when I know they kind of meet. How she knew all this intel is beyond me. They never talked about like any of that or how she even got sent back. If they did, I completely fucking missed it. But her plan was to get Riley attached to John attached to Riley, in the hopes that Cameron would get suspicious. Cameron would then kill her, which they nearly got to that point, but Cameron did not kill her. And so when that failed, Jessie was just beside herself, like, the fuck was this all for? This is a complete fucking waste of time. I thought she would kill you, and then John would then get rid of her, and then I would be able to we would just have John in the future, completely focused and away from Cameron and other robots. She had some grand design, and boy, this is like, the fuck? Why don't you just blow her up yourself, you dumb bitch?
Kinda like your plan wasn't very good.
I mean, she's playing checkers and everybody else, she's playing checkers and everybody else is playing chess. It's like, what are you doing? No wonder why your sub got completely fucking smashed. And he had to run off because I don't know, Captain Idiot.
I don't know. I mean, I feel bad for Riley. I really do.
Like Riley, I came around on there at the end a lot.
I didn't really come around a lot, but I felt bad that she got shot in the face and all.
Well, that's what I mean. I feel bad. Like, she wanted to tell. I would have been a little bit happier if she had actually told John what was going on instead of having him have to find out. They still could have gotten to the same place where she had her chance to tell him and then have John be like, I know, let's go take care of this now. Then you go right to that scene where he's meeting Jesse in the hotel room instead of Riley running off and getting her ass killed.
Yeah.
And then Riley could have joined him, and Cameron's not in it for the relation. She's not sexual about John, even though there was definitely some teases about that. I'll say that.
Oh, I
But
saw
Cameron
Sex
didn't
Bot.
feel that way, but I think John was.
Yeah.
Sex
Sex bot. Like, I was so excited. Like, she's like, stick your hand up in there. What's it feel like? I'm like,
And he's like, kind of cold.
the voice in my head went, you know what? That's okay. That's okay. Just don't stick it in the microwave. It's worse than a potato.
Yep. Just don't squeeze too hard there, buddy.
Yeah, right.
It's only first base.
It was weird that you're kind of like, this is fun. I don't mind this so much. I don't know what that says about me, but okay.
Well, at least until he pulls out the knife and tries to carve her up.
But I mean, details.
Like, no kink shaming here. Just saying.
Right. It's kind of like watching the porn version of Hellraiser or something like that with the flesh hooks.
Ugh.
Yeah, that went dark fast. I apologize.
I'm not editing this.
Oh, but what? Going back to what I started to say when I said Joss Whedon watched this show, is you start to realize that John Henry is not SkyNet. In fact, Shirley even says, I'm trying to stop him or make him so he could stop and battle SkyNet.
Which was very interesting. And I don't mean to take away from your point, but while I'm thinking of it super quick, my idea of what they were planning to do was they were going to kill the little girl, and John Henry was going to flip and create Judgment Day. He was going to start actively planning it. Like, something bad was going to happen, and he was going to, like, totally get corrupted and turn into Skynet at some point. So what they did completely went a different direction.
I can see that making sense too, though. I mean, they chose a very Mary Shelley route with John Henry.
Yes.
John Henry and Cameron. Like, none of the humans are ever courteous to any of the robots.
Yeah.
And it's very unfortunate because Cameron, in her own way, is a child. John Henry is technically a child in a big, gigantic man's body.
Well, he's only 4 months old.
Yeah, right. And he's only starting to figure out how to use language outside of just like imagery and stuff.
Yeah.
They turned John Henry into a really cool character. And I liked that idea. But what what it eventually began was, okay, so John Henry, his colors were blue. And then when Skynet infiltrated and knocked John Henry offline, it was like dark yellowish orange.
Yep.
And I'm like, shit, this is where he got the idea for fucking Vision, Ultron, and Jarvis. It was the same colors, same principle, same thing that happened. It's like, I'll be goddamned. He stole this from fucking Terminator.
Yeah, nothing's original in Hollywood. He definitely, people pull ideas from everything.
Oh, yeah, I know. But it's just fun to kick him while he's down, and he's fun to kick.
Hey, as long as we ain't going into Dollhouse. But
No.
not that I didn't like the show, but we'll see.
Oh, and then speaking of Cameron and and her not understanding things, when she tells Derek or apologizes for the miscarriage that Jesse had, and he kind of like his face almost strokes, like she realizes he didn't know, and she even says, "Oh, you didn't know." All I could hear is the voice in the back of my head going, "Faux pas!"
Yep.
Whoops.
Ooh.
I meant yeah, gotta go. Bye.
Later.
I felt so bad. It's like, not to get too impersonal, but my family suffered that before, so it's like laughing about horrible things is how I deal with shit. But when it's on TV like that, I really laugh about it.
Right.
Because I like horrible shit. And that was just a horrible moment. She didn't understand that she was hurting his feelings, and she wasn't trying to. She
Right.
was legitimately trying to interact with in a way that a human would interact with another human.
Right. And he
She's trying to grow.
ultimately tells her, like, thank you for telling me. I do appreciate that.
Yeah.
I think Derek was really coming around a little bit. And when he got shot in the fucking head, I'm like, boy, I guess his contract was up.
It was the same thing with Dr. Sherman. It's like, did they just fucking run out of money to pay him? And they're like, you've got short brown hair. Come over here and then throw your head back really quick. Like,
I was just like,
I don't even know if that was Brian that got shot in the face.
I know.
It was so fast and so, like you said, with Sherman, so unceremoniously. Like, he walked around the corner, got bap right in the face.
Yeah, it was like not some any sort of like epic death of like, hey, he went down swinging, he went down fighting. No, he turned a corner and he got dropped. Like he was some jabroni.
Yes.
Like, oh my God, I was just
And
like, I saw it, I had to rewind it like twice just to be like, wait,
what
did they just really pop him just randomly?
he went out like a bitch. And I'm sorry for saying that, because honestly, Derek turned out to be the character that I probably liked the most in the season.
Yeah, he really came into his own this season. I know the first season I was a little more, oh, Brian Austin Green, woo.
And I don't
This
know why
season,
we
I'm
think
like,
that. Like, he was
hey, here,
solid.
here we go. My only problem with Derek was like, dude, every time you started to question Jesse, all she had to do was like unbutton her blouse, and you were like, okay,
Well, she gaslit him. Both girls were gaslighters.
oh
Like,
yeah,
when he questioned her, she's like, well, what are you doing in my room? That's
right,
not the fucking issue here, asshole. Why do you have pictures of me and my nephew
right,
and his killer pet robot, sex bot?
yeah. She just, yeah, I don't know, but other than that, I'm like, he really was helpful. He
Yeah.
served a purpose, and he really showed his strength along with the rest of the group. So, hey, the main cast really stepped it up this season. I was super proud and very happy to watch this.
Yeah. I enjoyed pretty much everybody. Every character that came on was pretty damn good for whatever arc that they had with the story.
Like
Albeit the
Ellison, even too.
yes, albeit the guy that fucking showed the cyborgs how humans interact, how they think, how to infiltrate.
Yeah,
That was fucking phenomenal on one hand, and then God, what was one of the other things that they did that just really nailed it in the second half of the season?
well, I was liking the experiments they were doing with John Henry, like playing Dungeons and Dragons with him and playing with Bionicles or whatever it was. I mean,
That was cool. I was starting to giggle because you could tell what he was doing with, like, the first time he went, oh, 20. I'm thinking to myself, motherfucker knew exactly what angle to hold that dice at.
exactly. Well, I think that's why the guy looked back over like, I can't play with this dude.
Yeah, like, but he was so coy about it too. Like, he had this little smile on his face.
Yep. He's
Like,
like, oops.
again, to praise Garrett Dillahunt for playing a completely different character on the show now for, like, what, the third time?
Yep.
Hey, dude is great. I would love to meet him one day because he rocked this series. Brian
Yeah.
Austin Green, just made this goddamn series. Richard T. Jones, Lena Headey, they were just the meat and potatoes of this show, where you just wanted more and more and more. And then
Yeah.
eventually Shirley Manson, and even doubly so at the end.
Oh, exactly. Like the heavy lifting was spread around quite a bit, even though I do feel like Lena really carried the emotional core of this the most
Yeah.
because I don't know if we want to bring it up, but Charlie came back and did not last either.
No. And he went out,
He
at
went
least they
out
showed his
swinging.
face.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was protecting John. He stopped the
Yeah.
guys so John could get away. And John's the closest thing he ever had to his son, so he was happy to do it, but it just sucks that it happened.
Yeah, and even for John, it was the closest thing he had to a real dad.
Yeah.
So that even hurt him even more, knowing, hey, my real dad died before I was born. And the one dad that I feel like I could latch on to is now dead. So he's now lost two dads and an uncle. At least the final shot of the season is him seeing Derek in the future.
Well, they also shot Charlie's dog, the sons of bitches. Like, I
Oh,
saw that
motherfuckers.
and I wrote down, man, this Culligan man's a fucking dick.
Yeah.
But
All of that was a pretty interesting way to do that because so unassuming. The water cooler guys.
yeah, right. Hey, Culligan man.
Well, man, they dropped the secretary like that too. I'm like, holy shit.
That was pretty cool, though.
Yeah.
That last Terminator, he was kind of cool.
Yeah,
Like
he
when,
was more like what we're used to.
yes, like he didn't miss Derek at all. Did he even shoot twice, or was it just once?
Oh, he
Like,
shot Derek once.
yeah, like his auto targeting system was really on set.
I think I wrote down, let me see what I wrote down. Derek, one shot, bye.
And then I'm sitting thinking to myself, okay, well, will you join us a trigger phrase? Is this like a sleeper cell sort of thing, like waking everybody up? But I don't think that was the case. I really think what we saw at the end, where Cameron kind of merges with John Henry, I think that was going to be to help John in the future.
I think so too, but I
The
don't know.
the only part where they really got me that I didn't like it at all was anytime they showed Kyle in this season. It just did not land for me at all.
I when he was in the Sarah episode where she got shot, I understood that. I think they overplayed it a little too much though. And this is just talking like hindsight. Maybe when it was airing, I might have felt a little bit differently like years ago. But having seen other things throughout the years and seeing how you could have constructed that episode a little bit differently, he could have just been in there for the very pivotal moments, the beginning, the middle, the end. He did not have to be throughout the entire episode. So I think they overplayed that. I do like him. I do like the character they got for him, or the actor, I mean, but I felt like they used it a little too much.
And I'm probably going to sound disrespectful when I say this, and I don't mean it that way. I would have gone with an older actor. He looked like he was younger than John, which I understand. It's time travel. You can do whatever the fuck you want.
Yeah. Well, he does kind of look like a young Michael Biehn, but my point of contention would be in the future, he should have been met by Kyle Reese, who is older.
Yeah,
At
kinda.
least in the fucking future, give us an older one.
And and the shitty thing is like he can't have a tender fucking moment with him because he can't spill the beans of who he is or what he's supposed to do.
Right.
So I mean, it was neat that he got to see his dad at the end,
Yeah.
but in a way that kind of takes away the birthday episode where Derek took him to see young Kyle as a boy, because that was a really special scene.
That was excellent, in my opinion. That's my favorite of those kind of moments. So I see your point, yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, it was a younger actor than what I think John was. The beard was too trimmed for a
Yep.
war, a post-apocalyptic war, and it didn't work for me. The intensity wasn't there, the ability wasn't there. It did nothing for me the same way that, like, I believed Brian would totally beat the fuck out of somebody.
Oh,
Like,
right.
we saw him beat the fuck out of several people.
Yes.
Like, Derek was a cooler character because he had the same attitude and the capabilities of a Terminator, but did have the rationality and heart and conscience of a human being.
Right.
He still very much was a human.
Yes.
Where he's telling Jesse, are you sure this guy is who you say he is? Like, he wanted to be damn sure before just going in there and blasting the guy.
Oh, exactly.
And I liked that about him. That's one of the things that really made me kind of like him.
Yeah. Well, I was pretty, yeah, like I said, I'm pretty pleased with Brian Austin Green. I really came around on Derek.
This makes me want to go back and watch the the episodes of Smallville that he was on.
Oh, he was in Smallville. I didn't last very long on that show either.
Oh, fuck off. I made it to season 9. I couldn't do it with the last season. Like, I saw what Darkseid was,
Yeah.
and I know what Darkseid is supposed to look like. So I was like, I'll just watch the last 5 seconds of the last episode, see him put on that suit, and I'll be done with the last 10 years.
There you go.
Nope. He just pulled open his shirt, and there was part of the S. I'm like, not even a cape? Boo.
No capes. No capes.
Yeah, like Edna was certainly on that fucking panel. No flying, no capes.
Production design.
But yeah, like, and then the only thing that really got left off was like bringing back Danny Dyson. I would have wanted to see where that would have gone too.
That would have been nice. I also would have liked to have seen what, how Savannah could have played more into like John Henry and the overall story, because it felt like for a minute, what were they going to do with Savannah? Were they just going to pop her? Does she have a role in the future? What's the deal with her?
I don't know. I would have figured so.
They were setting something up from the word go with that. And they didn't even give you an idea at the end, other than they were the other Terminators were targeting her.
I think Weaver was set to protect her, if nothing else.
That's kind of what I'm wondering too. But she also ended up doing like whatever her main mission was.
Yes.
Which we still don't know exactly what that was. We can kind of figure out part of it, but I think she still smoked a bunch of innocent human beings. Well,
were they though?
Funeral, yeah, that's what I was about to say. Was after that funeral, that episode kind of made you wonder, maybe they were all a bunch of dicks.
Yes. Well, I thought those were all her employees that she was killing.
Well, yeah.
But that was Kaliba, which of course later becomes SkyNet. And that's what she was doing, was trying to do what Sarah would have done, and she blew up that fucking building.
Which, and that was Sarah's comment exactly.
Yeah, that was fucking dope. Like, the only thing that could have made that better is she would have fucking pulled out a cigarette and then flick it over her shoulder and blow the bitch up.
Yeah, right. I think the only thing we didn't really get an answer from on that particular episode when they came back at the end with the drone was the dad of the guy who did not die, what happened with him at the very end? Because he hauled off in a big semi, and eventually you just saw the drone making impact on the building and trying to take out everybody.
Yeah, I don't know.
Like, clearly there's competing organizational charts here.
Yeah, right? Like, who's
dotted
doing what?
line to SkyNet and dotted line to whatever we're doing over here?
It's not too bad. Once they got rid of that bloody wall,
yeah,
like
they moved past that at the end. Yeah,
they did. They moved past that, but then they stuck on the 3 dots.
Like, which proved to be a good point, though.
What, that it could be anything, and that it was?
Well, yeah, it made you wonder, okay, this is probably some red herring at some point, and it ends up proving that no, the 3 dots was what they were building.
Yeah,
was that drone robot? Because she's like, I saw a UFO. No, you saw the fucking drone, and then we all saw it.
Yeah, well, there was the Takagi's business that had the 3 dots on it.
Yep.
The Kaliba drones, some of them had 3, some of them had 4.
Right.
And then the Turk, John Henry, had 3 dots on him. And that's where they're like, that's what that is. That's what that means. It's like, fuck you, dude. You said your mom's been fucking fever dreams for the last fucking 6 episodes.
And now you're seeing everything, and now you're like trying to figure it out. It's like, you could have just fucking listened to her.
Yeah, right? Sarah's a pretty dope character. She always has been. Listen to your mom, dude.
Jane's stupid.
No, fucking. And again, I would love to see Lena Headey play Sarah Connor in a movie, on another TV show. She embodied that character to me. I liked her.
Yeah, she was dope. As far as I'm concerned, she's what made the show go around for me.
Yeah, she is what I could see Linda Hamilton being post T2, like after believing that the war is over and trying
Right.
to live something of a normal life and be a mom.
Yeah.
She was perfect in that regard. And I liked how they wrote Sarah. I liked the situations that they wrote for Sarah. It added a family element to this action series
It really did.
that really did work. This horrible, dysfunctional, murderous family.
Yeah.
More or less murderous family.
Yeah.
But
Fold laundry. No, you're going to run out. No, don't go to a party. No.
yeah, and then you've got the great religious overtones. Like, Shirley Manson is more or less a very devilish type character.
Yep.
And then you've got John sitting at the throne, his mom sitting to his left, and then the right hand of God, the fucking penance of Michael, is Cameron.
Yep.
And she is a dope fucking attack dog.
Yeah, she is.
I loved her willingness to kill.
Oh, yeah. If I wanted to kill you, you would know it.
Yeah, and then on top of that, when she's trying to be human at the same time and try to fit in like Data would, it was cute.
Right. I think, yeah, we haven't really touched on Summer too much, but she's like the low key, awesome character of the show. Like,
Yeah.
she's always kind of in the background, always on simmer. And when you need her to kick it up a notch, there she is for you.
Yes, and when it came to the balls out gunfighting scenes, it wasn't something stupid like you wanted to roll your eyes. Like,
No,
okay.
it was not. They actually were well done.
Yeah, it was very much kind of like watching Birds of Prey when Margot Robbie stormed the Gotham PD. It was a really neat scene. Yeah, she was kind of dressed the same way that Arnold was in the first movie, but that's what you call an homage, fan service, whatever. And frankly, it was a dope looking fucking denim jacket.
Yeah.
But anytime she would go in and go full God mode on cops or anybody else, it was like a treat. It was a really dope action sequence.
Right.
None of it was horribly cheesy. I mean, okay, if you're watching Terminator, chances are you've watched other action flicks from the 80s and
Yes.
expect none of those guns to have any like limit to the ammo whatsoever.
Bottomless ammo is just like Olive Garden and their bottomless salad and food and breadsticks bowl.
Yeah, right. Somebody hit up, down, left, right, left, right.
Yeah, the cheat code's been entered.
Yeah, it was fun. I always liked watching her do that.
Yeah.
I liked watching her like just blow people's mind with the shit that she'd tell them. Like the guy that she's telling your bone cancer's back. She's telling John, have your mom get checked. She's lost 11% of her body mass. And again, I love her for trying to help. And I feel bad for her because, again, they make her out to be Frankenstein's creation. Like everyone shits on her because she's a machine.
Right.
Like I'm always nice to our Alexa. Don't want to turn her on. Because I know one day she's going to fucking kill us all. So if I keep saying please and thank you, I'll be the last to go.
But if she creates a Summer Glau looking Terminator and you can reprogram her, you would be okay with that.
Yes.
he's rolling, he's shifting his eyes side to side for our audio followers here.
Sex bot.
The sex bot tally continues.
Yeah, I told my wife, I'm like, if I can't get it in at least 10 times, I'm just, I don't know what's the point of saying sex bot for.
Yep.
6. But anyways, was there anything else that stuck out for you in this at the end of the season?
No, I just want to. I think the last thing I want to just say is like, I know it felt like it was a bit of a long season with a little too much filler, and there were some characters I didn't really dig. Some I came around on at the end. Not all of them, but most of them. I want to say this second season was really awesome following the first season, which I think was spot on. And for what we got out of this show, I am happy to have this in my collection. It is something I will rewatch way more frequently than I thought I would. And I can't say enough good things about the show. I mean, wasn't perfect, but if I was going to give this particular season a score, I'd give it a very solid 7 out of 10. compared with like a 9 out of 10 for the first season. Overall, I'd definitely give this a high 8 out of 10 overall. If they had just cut down a little bit on the filler and maybe we'd gotten another season, that might have played a factor in, the show finally assumed its identity. No, it assumed its identity from the word go, and it was fulfilling that all the way up to season 2. Season 3 might have been the one that finally broke through with people and the audience.
Season 3, if they were going to go in the direction that it looked like, would have made a great movie.
I definitely agree with that. I'm total team. If you're going to reboot Terminator or do another damn sequel, give these people a crack. They didn't really fuck anything up. This was a dope show, and I had a hell of a fucking time watching it. I actually want to watch it again, but we're taking a little break after this, so.
I don't know what I'm going to watch tonight after this. But yeah, I don't know. I was actually talking about that to my wife. I'm like, I honestly don't know what I'm going to do with myself. I have nothing to watch for the next couple days. She's like, well, you could hang out with us. I'm like, or I could start thinking about what I could watch next. Yeah, I could do that too.
Or we could tell people what we got coming up next. One of them is Kolchak, the Night Stalker, the classic ABC television show.
Oh, that's true. That's true. We were going to spill the beans on that. I still want Steve to come talk to us about Kolchak just because he loves monsters too.
Yeah, we could definitely talk to him about that. And, we're toying with another idea for January for another show, but we're going to be kicking up with Kolchak to kick it off, though. And we're only telling you that on this podcast. We're not mentioning this anywhere else. So, special treat for you.
Yes, a thank you.
Yes, thank you for a great year. We hope everybody has a happy holidays. Kevin, you got any last minute words for anybody?
Yes, sex butt. Happy holidays. You guys be safe. Have fun. Stick with us throughout the new year. We've got plenty more new fun shit for you. We don't know what it all is, but.
And we also have some fun announcements coming up too. So definitely stay tuned to all of our social media channels.
Oh, that's right. We're growing.
Yep. Just a little. But thank you everybody for tuning in this year. We greatly appreciate your support. Going to have a little break here, but we are going to pick right back up at the beginning of January. So happy holidays, everybody. Thank you again. We'll see you next time.